open with remarks from Keith before opening up to questions and answers. There'll be mics on either side of the rooms that you see, so if you have a question for the Q&A, please just raise your hand. The mic will come to you, and please just identify yourself with your name and media affiliation, please. And then we'll do a media scrum after with Keith. This is the first time we're using this new studio for a press conference, so we'll find the right place for a scrum after that accommodates everybody. With that, I'll turn it over to Keith Pelley.
Okay, thanks, David. Oh, nice echo in here. Yeah, a little bit of an echo. Good afternoon, and thank you very much, all of you, for coming in. I apologize for bringing you out here on a Friday afternoon, but I thought it was important to address all of you after what transpired yesterday afternoon in a very rapid fashion. Yesterday was a difficult and a very tough day. Brendan Shanahan is an integral part of Leafs history. His 11 years here, he accomplished so many incredible things, and I really thoroughly enjoyed working with Brendan over the last year. He's a quality individual. He's a legend in the hockey world, and as I said to him yesterday, wherever he goes, I know he will be successful, and I wish him and his family the very best. There's been a lot of chat and a lot of discussion around pressure, and pressure of being a Toronto Maple Leaf player, or a pressure working with the Leafs or as an executive. And even sitting in the stands on Sunday night with my 22-year-old boy, just prior to the game, he put his hand on my leg and said, "Dad, are you nervous?" I said, "Yeah, of course I'm nervous." He said, "Do you feel the pressure?" And I said, "Yeah, of course I feel the pressure." I said, "But pressure is really a privilege. And it is a privilege to be that nervous. It's a privilege to be the CEO of MLSE, and it was a privilege to be in those seats at Game 7. And I've said it, and I said it prior to coming here in Toronto. And I really found myself over the last 10 years in Europe, running the European Tour, now the DP World Tour and the Ryder Cup, that the greatest game on earth is hockey, and it's not ice hockey, it's hockey. And the greatest hockey team in the world is the Toronto Maple Leafs. And as a result, you've seen the passion and the tribalism that exists. I saw it this year more than I could remember. And that tribalism, reminded me of my involvement in European football and what happens in the Premier League, where people are invested. They're invested in their team. It matters so much for a lot of the people, and a lot of people in Europe, and a lot of people here now in Toronto. They're as happy as the team is playing well. And there was nothing more evident than seeing that on Sunday. I respect, understand, and appreciate their disappointment in the way the season ended. I thank them for it. I thank them for the way that they've invested in the team. And I understand, to our fans, that winning is the only thing that matters. I think I said to you last year that good simply isn't good enough. And that's the case here. And having said that, we made some strides this year. And I have incredible confidence in Brad in only his second year as the general manager. I talked to him just a couple minutes ago. Unfortunately, Brad couldn't be here. Things I said happened very rapidly. He's in Calgary right now at his daughter's graduation, and the first time that we have a chance to get together will be Sunday evening for dinner. But I think we made some strides in Brad's only second season here as the general manager. Similar, I did have a great opportunity to spend a bit of time and have dinner with Chief last night, and we certainly made some strides under Chief. Yes, we won the Atlantic Division, and we came one game to making the conference finals and beating the defending champions and a pretty good Florida team that seems to be having their way with the Carolina Hurricanes right now. But as I said, winning is what matters. That's why I said again last year, that's what the ownership is committed to. That's what we're committed to. I have my utmost confidence in Brad and my utmost confidence in Craig. I'm not looking to replace Brendan. I'm looking to work closer with Brad and work closer with Craig. We will, just like in any other business, evaluate all facets of the organization in terms of how we utilize resources. We have all the resources here to be a championship team, but it's using the resources in the right way and how we structure those utilization of resources could make the difference. And that's what we will spend the next weeks looking at. I'm confident in Brad, I'm confident in Craig, I'm confident in the resources that we have. But I do believe that we, as the custodians of the biggest hockey brand in the world, have a responsibility to our fans, and that responsibility is winning championships. And we will do everything we possibly can and will not stop until we reach that goal. With that, David, I'll just open it up to Q&A.
Thank you. Begin with Kevin McGrath.
Keith, just wondering whether anything might have saved Brendan's job. Like, was this a results-based decision that they didn't win the Stanley Cup, or had they done better, would he still be around for a few more years?
Well, I would answer that saying, I don't speculate on hypothetical situations. This was my decision. I had the support of ownership. Had that conversation yesterday. We made the decision. I talked to Brendan at 3 p.m. Eastern yesterday. He, as expected, acted like a true professional. The Hall of Famer that he is, understood and wanted to move very, very quickly. But outside of that, I don't speculate on hypothetical situations. We didn't win the cup.
Chris? Yep.
Keith, Chris Johnson. I'm just wondering, what will be the measure of success moving forward then? Does this team have to win the Stanley Cup next year for you to be satisfied?
I think we have to be on the pathway to win the Stanley Cup. I think the city has told us that. The media has told us that. We haven't won since 1967. I think that when you look at the last 11 years, no other team has made the playoffs 9 years in 11 years. That's a testament to the development and the foundation that Brendan built. Our next step is to take it to the next level, and we felt that this move would help us get to the next level. But make no mistake about it, making the playoffs and winning rounds is not our aspirational goal. Our goal is to win the Stanley Cup.
Josh?
Josh Clipper with the Canadian Press. Keith, I'm just wondering, you mentioned you were in the stands for Game 7. What were you thinking in the third period? You know, one of your best players is getting booed, jerseys are hitting the ice, beers going over the glass. Like, what are you thinking in that moment?
It was tough. You know, you're on, sports brings you on an emotional roller coaster, and team sports in particular. I hadn't really experienced that type of emotion in some time, maybe ever. When you're running a golf tour, every single weekend you have a new winner, and you say, congratulations, congratulations. But you're not cheering for anyone. The only time I felt somewhat like Game 7 was in Whistling Straits, when Team Europe, who I was running Team Europe, lost to Team US in my very first Ryder Cup. And then the euphoria in the 2018 Ryder Cup in Paris, and then the Ryder Cup in Rome when we won. So I felt those emotions, but this was at a different level. And you know, listening to the fans and understanding and respecting it, and you know, the electricity in the building, and I've heard this from so many people, hadn't been there even over the last number of years, and understanding I haven't been there. The electricity prior to the game and during that first period was palpable and you know, unmeasured before. And to go from that euphoric moment to the way that we felt in the third period was very difficult. And I was saddened by it, and I feel that I need to take some responsibility for that.
Mark?
Keith, Mark Masters, TSN. The way Game 7 and Game 5 played out, you mentioned the feeling there. What was your takeaway from that? Does that raise questions about how the team is built and what you have there as the main leaders, or what were you thinking as in that regard?
Well, I think Game 5 and Game 7 were very difficult games. Like we all know that. But I think I've already made my comments on that. I think we've made strides. You know, Florida's a very good hockey team. We're seeing that this week as well against Carolina, who's also a very good hockey team. And as I said, I think we made strides this year, but it is now time for us to take it to another level.
Luke?
Luke Fox, Sportsnet. Keith, what's over here?
Where are you?
What?
Oh, there you go.
What ideas do you have to improve the relationship or connection between the team and its fans?
I think that's an excellent question. You know, I think it's one that we've talked about, and it's one that we've talked about over the last 24 hours, but it's also the one that we've talked about over the last 6 to 12 months. You know, we launched a new program. You're maybe familiar with it. You know, the Fan Access program, which launched at the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the playoffs. We now have 13,000 fans in Fan Access. 50% of them have never been inside Scotiabank Arena. You know that there is an opportunity if you've been on Fan Access, which is going to grow significantly. You know that we're giving away tickets, and you can join Fan Access for free. There will be in the neighborhood 150 tickets next year that will be given away on a game-to-game basis, where people can enter into draws. What we need to do, and you see it outside with the younger demographic, with the tailgate party. And by the way, Fan Access, the age group is 15 years younger than the age group of our season tickets, so that's pretty significant. And I think the biggest thing is how our players relate to the fans, and it's going to be something that and quite honestly, how we relate to the media. You know, I understand the importance of the media, having worked in it for so long. You know, we need to embrace the media. We need to embrace the the fans, and we need to be out there more. We're going to have a full, detailed plan, and we'll work on that in the off season. But that's really a priority for us, is how we relate to the fans.
Pierre?
Keith, Pierre LeBrun, could you walk us through your decision not to replace Brendan? In other words, not to bring in another president? And just as a follow-up to that, do you anticipate adding another job title to Brad Treliving? A lot of GMs around the league have president of hockey as well.
You know, we're really on day one, Pierre. So anything is possible. My plan right now is to not replace Brendan, and Brad will be our GM. Whether he takes on a larger role is something that will be determined down the road. But the reality is we're a different organization because we have multiple teams. So as a result, when you have multiple teams, you have centers of excellence. And that is from your commercial side, from your ticket side, from your marketing side, from your communication side. So there are many teams, as you know, that has presidents and general managers and don't have separate presidents and general managers, similar to the National Basketball Association. There's not a right and a wrong way to do it. But at the same time, there's no real need at this particular time to make a haste decision. So everything that we will do will be methodical, and if we feel that we need to make a move like that, then we will. But at this particular time, there's no plan to do that. I have the utmost confidence in Brad Treliving and Craig Berube as our coach.
Lance?
Lance Storm from the Toronto Sun. What do you anticipate your own role to be day-to-day involvement in terms of decisions?
Well, I think it's very important to tell you is that as much as, you know, I love the game and I love the NBA and I love Major League Soccer, you know, I'm the CEO of MLSE. So the people that are going to make the key hockey decisions, the people that are going to make the key basketball decisions, are basketball-oriented people and are hockey-oriented people. My role is to be a sounding board. My role is to try to create a culture and the chemistry within that organization that builds a culture of winning championships. And so that's the way I look at it. That's the way I look at it, as a holistic leader that can provide support and guidance from a leadership perspective, from a culture side. But you know, I'm not going to be deciding who we draft and what free agents we're going to sign. That will be the decision by the hockey operations group.
David?
Hey, Keith, David Alter with the Hockey News. It's been reported that the ownership structure is going to change, or may have already changed, or expected to change this summer. Has that happened? And if it has or hasn't, how does that change how you go about your day-to-day?
Well, our ownership group, and I said this before, is one of the best ownership groups in sports. And they've provided all the resources to win. And it is my responsibility to deliver on that. And that's not going to change.
Josh?
Joshua Cloak over here, Keith.
There you go.
Keith, you let go Toronto FC's president, Bill Manning, about a year ago. In that time, the club has won 6 of 24 league matches. What have you kind of learned from not having a president at Toronto FC that you think maybe you can apply to the Leafs moving forward?
No, I don't think there's any parallel really between that. There was as I outlined at the time when we made that decision, and I also reiterated that we were changing the team ethos. We were going to change the way that we operated our academy, the way that we're going to operate the structure of that team. I am totally confident that TFC is headed in the right direction. You know, a 6-1 win against Montreal last week, the most goals they've ever scored, is the start of it. But TFC has the TFC is going to contend for championships every year. I have the utmost confidence in Jason Hernandez. Jason Hernandez, this is just his second year, and giving him the reign of that, and I'm confident about TFC. I know we're on the right track. But when you create a team ethos, when you create of the way you want to play, of how you want to recruit players, then you have to be diligent in staying with that philosophy. And that's what we're going to do at TFC. We're not going to chase it. We're going to be diligent in that team ethos and how we want to play, what we're going to try to attract. And I'm really pleased with where we are right now.
I have time for 3 more. Lindsay?
Hi, Lindsay Dunn, City News. You just spoke about the confidence in TFC, but also spoke about how winning is what mattered in building a culture. What is your confidence in the Raptors and then building towards a winning championship? Are you looking towards organizational changes there?
I think the Raptors under Masai have obviously not only won a championship, but have started the rebuild, and I'm optimistic about the season ahead. Dave?
Hey Keith, Dave McCarthy, NHL.com right here. Right here.
I got it. I'm really struggling with where to look.
You spoke about your feelings watching games 5 and 7 and how difficult that was with the response from the fans, and your ethos that championships are what it's all about. 2 significant pending free agents with the Maple Leafs. Do you think that the roster requires an element of turnover to get to that point, and to bring back the same roster, do you think that would be accepted by the fans?
I think that's not a question for today. I think that is that's a question for Brad Treliving, and it's a question for Brad and perhaps myself after we have spent significant time together. I'm not here to talk about individual details on players or such. I'm only talking about a grandiose, holistic plan of we want to win championships, and if that's what's needed and change is needed, then we will make that. Change is natural in sport, but change is hard. I've always said that the Harvard Business School wrote in 2012 that less than 10% of people that have bypass surgery make a major modification to their diet after saying change is hard. And change is hard. Today's hard. Today's not easy. Today's hard. But change is hard. But we've made a lot of change over the last year in this team, and we've made a lot of progress. We've made change in TFC, and we're starting to see the progress. Further change will probably be needed to get us to the next level, and yesterday was the first step in that direction.
Greg?
Just at the back here. Keith, I know you're only in your first year in the role that you're in now, but in the past, you've said things like good is not good enough and you're going to change the culture, but we've heard similar things said year after year when there's failure in the playoffs. Why should anybody believe that this time is going to be different?
I can't comment on what has transpired over the last 10 years. I can only comment on what I have seen over the last year. I looked at TFC, and I didn't think that we had the right team ethos. And I think you need to be consistent with how you're going to attract players, how you're going to scout, all of that. I can't comment on the last 10 years. I can only comment on the last year. And I'm saying that we made a lot of progress under Brad and made a lot of progress under Chief. I think you'll all agree that Chief changed the culture. Now we're gonna make another step, and as I said, winning's about hoisting championships, right? And that's our goal.
Thank you very much. We'll just have Keith here.
Does Rosie want to? Sorry, Rose. No, but okay, it's up to you.
We'll give you the mic here, Rosie.
Rosie from the Star.
Yeah.
I'm still not quite understanding, and maybe you can make clear for me what Shanahan did wrong, because you have a president for the Raptors. You now say you're not going to have a president for the Leafs. This can has been tied to Brendan, not the players. So can you tell me where you think he went wrong?
I don't think it's a one word or a one phrase or even a paragraph answer. At the end of the day, Brendan had a lot, has added a lot to this organization. He has revamped it. He has put it in a really good position in so many ways. But it's about results. This is a results-driven business, and it's about winning championships. And sometimes you need change to get to the next level, and that's what we feel that we needed right now.
Thank you. We'll just have Keith here for a scrum. Might have to do it in 2 waves, just given the space limitations, but we'll make it work.